So parents sometimes don't seem to want to be at these events. They're stressed. They had a long day at work. Probably the last thing they want to do is then come to some other place that's not their home. So I think what the school needs to do is ask the parents, what do they want to see? What are events that they could possibly help with or donate to? Things that spark their interest. Maybe we're not reaching that currently, and we need to be doing that in order to get the parents to attend. I would like parental surveys, parental involvement surveys, to be handed out at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the school year. Possibly to ask parents what times are best for them. Maybe having a report card night every Friday at the end of the month at 7 o'clock is not good for most parents. On Fridays, they want to go home. The last thing they want to do is come here, which is not their home. So I think it would be important to see when they can come, why they would want to come. And then when they see these events being put in place, they say, oh wow, I brought that in. They feel like an important and valued member of the community when they see their ideas as part of the school. Again, the school needs to use the biggest resource that it has, the church. A lot of students don't come to those mandatory masses that we have on Sundays. But if the church was involved and they began a mentoring program, maybe with someone who is like their aunt or like their uncle. It could be in a big sister, little sister program, a big brother, little brother program. It would make them excited coming to church to be able to see that special person that they only get to see or associate with the church. It wouldn't be another chore for them to do. It would be something exciting, and that person could also mentor them in their faith. Maybe questions that the parents are not very certain in answering, or that they don't have the perfect answer to. This person that is part of the church could help them and guide them. I would also like to see some workshops. I think parents a lot of times don't get involved because they don't know how. And even if we send home 1 million papers saying this is how you can do it, they might not pay attention to those papers. They want to see somebody in front of them saying, look, this is what you need to do. Let's give you a tour of the school. This is the main office. Come and see us. This is where you can do your finances, your tuition. This is where you can ask about textbooks. This is the principal's office. This is where you would come if you had a question about teachers, if you had a question about academics or curriculum. I think parents need to know where to go. Oftentimes I see parents in the morning and they ask me, where can I find this person? And that should have been something we told them at the beginning of the year. So I think sometimes it's just simply educating them a little bit more on what they need to know. I would also like to see workshops for parents who speak only Spanish. Again, we have a very diverse population, and I want to see those parents getting involved and not being afraid of that language barrier. And the last one I think is really important is a culture-focused workshop for teachers. We always forget, we think of our own families and how we view education. But that may not be the way that the Asian American student and their parents view education. Maybe they say it's all up to the teacher and my kid, and I'm not going to get in the middle of that. If the teacher says this is what they need to do, that's all. Maybe another family might say, no, I'm going to be there every morning and make sure that my kid needs to be doing what they need to do. But we don't know unless we start looking at culture and ethnicities and see how they think of education. So I think it would be very important for teachers to just have maybe a small workshop at the beginning of the year as part of that beginning week when we move back into our classrooms. At this time, I'd like to ask for questions, comments, or concerns from my lovely audience. Anything? Well, I guess I'll ask you a question. Did you see any flaws in the program? All of you are seasoned teachers. You know what you're doing. Do you see anything that I could improve or make better?
Well, I have a question. Okay, in the parental involvement, do you think that by involving the Spanish-speaking parents, we can actually have a night or call it like a language night? So that way we can also help those parents. Because a lot of parents really don't have the time to go to school. And maybe that will help their students and the parents to get together and like learn English. So it will be like a fun thing to do for parents. We can come out with something like that, right?
Exactly. I think that's very important. In teaching first grade, my kids are learning how to read. They're learning the sounds of the letters. If I could get my parents involved in that, my Spanish-speaking parents, and say, look, learn with them. At least learn the sounds of the letters. So when you're out and about, you can at least put it together and know where you're going or what you're doing. So I think that's very important. I think another cool way to get them involved would be the Hispanic night that we have. Maybe find people of those ethnicities. Someone who was born in Guatemala, someone who was born in Nicaragua. Get them to come and do it with us. Be the middle dancer among those third graders, or show them a native dance instead of us looking it up on the internet and just saying, oh, this is what they do. Get somebody to really come in and maybe get the students really involved. I think that would be really important too. Anybody else? Yes.
About report card night, I know as a parent, I know I didn't, it's kind of hard after you have, working 8, 10 hours a day, come to a night event and you're tired. Maybe there's a solution to that, maybe making appointments with the teacher, have a day where the teacher can dedicate some time to you, maybe you can have time off at your job, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. And years before, we used to have 15 minutes for each student, and we had like report card day during the day up to a certain time. And that used to work in the past.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with being flexible, because there's parents that have 2 and 3 jobs and they cannot afford to take time off because they'll get fired, So I think most of it is flexibility. Giving them the time, okay, you can't come at this time, when is a good time for you? Not that, well, if you don't come this day, well, then you can't get the report card. They can't be working.
And I think that hurts them too, and it hurts the teacher's perception of them, because you think, this parent doesn't come to any report card night. What a bad parent, to say the worst. You think this, they don't care about their child, they don't care about the grades. Maybe they're slaving away at their job, we just don't know because they've never had the time to come in. But I really like that idea about having a whole day, maybe a teacher work day, where you schedule them in, starting at 8 o'clock before they have to go into work. 7:30, anything, before they have to go into it's convenient for them. Maybe extending it until 4 o'clock. You never know when they need to come in or when they have that time. They all work odd hours.
That could also be done for the mass. Instead of having mass every single, like once a month on Sunday at 10 o'clock or whatever time it is, right? Why don't we have it at 1? Why don't we have it at 7? Why don't we just, there's a lot of time for the mass the whole day, so why don't we just change the time? Even Saturday night is considered a Sunday mass.
Right.
So we can actually even change the time so parents that can come on Sunday morning, maybe they can make it on Saturday, or they can make it in the afternoon.
The bottom line is flexibility.
And it's making it convenient for that parent to be able to come in and care about their child.
Making it an event of some sort, maybe we have a 6 o'clock, we have something outside, a little event for them, come on a Sunday night or like a Saturday night or something like that.
Yeah, the point is not making it a chore, it's making it something
Exactly.
fun that they want to do.
Exactly. And you mentioned like the church being such an important part. What about having like a youth group? Is there a youth group?
There's a youth group at the church, but it's not associated with the school, right? So it would be associating them and making them come together and actually having them be a part of that church. Instead of, it seems, even though we're St. Michael Church and school, it's 2 different entities because we don't interact with each other.
What we can do in that case, we can actually talk to the people at the youth group and actually come to talk to the junior high students and try to get them involved to come in there.
Right, the retreats they've had all year, it would have been wonderful if they would have brought in that youth group to talk to them. To just encourage them and say, we're here. We're not making you join, but if you ever need us, we're there.
Sounds good.
All right, well, last slide. Thank you.